staff, harassment, alarm, distress.
And I'm going to tell you no.
There is concern around your behaviour and how it's making our staff feel.
And I'm going to
so
tell
I'm
you
make
no.
that request from you to provide me with your name
And I'm
address.
going to tell you no because I've done nothing wrong.
You're under arrest.
Okay, right, hang on.
Welcome to Rate the Audits, where we put misconduct on display, explore police and legal content, protect rights and demand accountability. This episode is brought to us by Auditor. Be sure to check the link below and subscribe to his channel and give him the credit he deserves. In this episode, Auditor is outside a police headquarters, filming lawfully from public land when an inspector storms over as if he's caught a crime in progress. He throws out laws that don't exist, backed by two officers who pile on with hostility, desperate to intimidate Plod into backing down. When their bluffing fails, they go further, abusing Section 50 to force an arrest with no lawful basis. But Plod doesn't fold. He turns their abuse into a legal battle, rejecting a quick payout and dragging them into court for real accountability.
Just a little bit concerned as to why you're filming inside Sussex police premises.
Well, first of all, could you actually identify yourself properly for me?
Yeah, of course. My name's Inspector Simon Barden. I'm one of the duty inspectors up in our
Inspector?
Simon Barden.
Simon Barden, okay.
So I work in the Force Contact Control Room, so I'm just wondering why you're stood on our property filming into...
No, I'm stood on public property.
Okay.
So let's verify that.
But you're filming into private property?
It makes no difference.
It does.
Why is that? What law am I breaking?
Because you're filming private property and you haven't...
It makes no difference.
Well, it does. You can't film into private property.
Yes, I can.
Okay, under what law?
Okay. The law is I can film whatever I can see in public. Okay, you can't trespass the eye.
From the very first exchange, the inspector shows how badly out of his depth he is. There is no law in the UK that prevents someone filming a building or vehicles from a public space. An inspector, someone expected to lead by example, should know this without hesitation. When Plod pushes back, the inspector makes it worse by demanding, under what law? That's not just ignorance, it flips the principle on its head. The public doesn't need a law to justify filming in public, officers need a law to restrict it. Case law and Article 10 of the European Convention on Human Rights make clear that taking photos or filming in public is a protected activity.
But there are staff members that are coming in. You're putting their security at risk because you could potentially...
I'm not putting anyone's security at risk.
But you could be, couldn't you?
No, that's a presumption. Okay, I'm not doing anything wrong.
No, it's not a presumption because I said you could. I didn't say you were.
Okay.
I said you could be. So that's not a presumption. That's me suggesting that you could be.
Okay. And how would I be putting their safety at risk then?
So what are you doing with those films?
Well, it's for personal use.
Okay. What personal use? Are you going to be sharing those online?
I don't know. Whatever personal use I wish.
Okay. So what is the purpose of you being here today would be my question.
The police is a public service.
Yep.
Okay. And I'm here to actually record what the public pay for.
Okay, but this isn't a police station. This is police
It
headquarters.
makes no difference. The public still pay for it.
Okay, I don't understand what you're trying to achieve though, because if you want to make sure...
I'm not trying to achieve anything. I'm just filming what the public pay for.
Okay, but if you're trying to prove that the public are paying and getting value for service, surely you'd be better...
I didn't say that. I didn't say that at all.
So what did you say?
Okay, I said I'm just here to film what the public pay for. That's it.
Okay, for what reason?
My own reason.
Instead of recognizing that filming from a public space is lawful, he starts demanding explanations. What are you doing with the footage? What personal use? For what reason? That's not policing, that's fishing. He isn't investigating an offence, he's trying to manufacture one by forcing Plod to justify something that requires no justification. Legally, Plod had no obligation to answer. Filming in public is lawful by default, and there is no statute that says a citizen must provide their motives to police. Article 10 of the Human Rights Act makes clear that photography and recording are protected expression. By pressing for personal reasons, the inspector was treating a right like a privilege, as if Plod needed his approval to carry on.
And do you come here regularly and do this?
That's irrelevant.
Okay. I feel like I've come down to have a conversation with you and engage with you. And
Yeah,
you're not,
but that-
and you're
but
not
that com-
particularly-
yeah,
and
but
you're not
that-
particularly willing to engage.
Yeah, but that conversation is irrelevant. Okay, that's called fishing for information.
It's not called fishing. It's called engaging with
Okay.
someone. It's called.
Yeah, I'll have a conversation about whatever you want. Okay, but whether
well,
or not,
no, you
but
won't. You'll have a
whether or not,
conversation with me
whether or
about
not
what you would
I've been
like.
here or not, or whether or not I'm actually filming, I'm just doing exactly what I'm perfectly lawfully allowed to do.
What my concern would be is that do you pose a security threat?
Okay, your concern and what the law is are two different things.
No, they're not.
Yes, they
No,
are.
they're not, because
Yes,
you-
they are.
no, they're not, because
Okay,
you-
your
no, they're
feelings
not.
and what you feel is not the law. Okay,
Right.
what I'm doing is perfectly lawful.
Not if,
Okay.
not if you pose a security threat. It's
In
not.
what way? You still haven't answered that.
Have you answered my question?
Okay, you still haven't answered that.
Have you answered my question?
I don't need to answer your question.
And I don't need to answer your questions.
Okay?
When the inspector falls back on the line about a security threat, it exposes how little substance he has. Security can't just be a buzzword officers throw out when they have no legal footing. To restrict someone's rights, there has to be a reasonable suspicion of criminal activity. Not just a feeling, not just discomfort at being filmed. That standard is enshrined in PACE and case law for a reason, because policing by feelings would make everyone a suspect. Plod nailed it when he told him feelings aren't the law. The inspector's inability to describe any actual threat proves the point. He wasn't assessing a risk, he was covering his own lack of knowledge. That's why he resorted to childish deflection, saying, "Have you answered my questions?" instead of giving a straight answer.
Are you recording police vehicles? Are you recording information on police staff?
I'm recording whatever I can see.
Bear with me a second.
Why are you filming here?
Because I'm well within my legal rights to do so.
But why?
It's a public service that the public
Have you a
pay
keen
for.
interest in the police?
Okay, I have an interest in all public services.
So do you do this on a regular basis?
Okay, that's irrelevant.
Well, rather than filming us, why don't you ask us some questions and we can if
Well,
you're interested in the police,
first of all, okay, if I had been approached correctly, okay, then I would have, okay, but your inspector hadn't, okay. You've come out, you've made an allegation, okay, towards me.
An allegation.
No, you did. You made an allegation that your staff, okay, are alarmed and distressed, okay.
Yes, they
You
are,
should
yeah.
know, as a constable, okay, you should not be alarmed and distressed.
Any person can feel harassment, alarm and distress.
Not when you're an officer.
Your
It is case law, and you cannot. You cannot be.
But let me speak.
Okay.
Let me get my point across so you can get yours. Okay?
Okay. I can film whatever the eye can see, sir.
Okay, but listen to what I'm saying. Okay, you've just said
Right.
what you want, so let me speak. Okay, members of staff leaving this building, or this facility, in their plain clothes, in their own car, you filming them has caused them alarm, harassment and distress. Okay? They're not on duty as police officers, so they can feel alarm and distress.
The moment the two constables arrive, their defence collapses under its own weight. They claim staff entering and leaving the HQ are alarmed and distressed by Plod's filming. Case law has long established that police, by the nature of their work, are expected to face a higher threshold of challenge and discomfort. Trying to wriggle out of that, the constables argue that these are staff in plain clothes in their own cars, but that changes nothing. They're still on police premises, tied to policing functions, and directly associated with the institution Plod is auditing. Their link to the police is exactly why Section 5 doesn't apply in the same way. You can't clock out of accountability simply because you're not in uniform, especially when you're entering or leaving HQ property.
It's a big security risk.
From that here all the way round inside this property, okay, I can
It
film.
doesn't matter. When we book off our system off duty, we're off duty. However, what
Okay.
we are going to clarify is whether what you're standing on is private land. So we're
It's
gonna-
publicly accessible.
No.
It's publicly accessible under Section 33 of the Criminal
We're
Justice
going to
Act.
find out whether
okay?
this part that you're standing on is private.
But then if you can show me the actual signs that state private property along there, okay, no public access, then fine, I will move on. Okay, but there are no
We're
signs,
giving you our
and it's
details.
publicly
And
accessible.
What is your name, young man?
It's irrelevant.
You've clearly come here for an argument.
No, I haven't. No, I haven't.
being here then?
Because I want to film.
Film what? Film what?
Okay, what the public
Film
pay
us
for.
leaving the building.
No, I'm filming what I can see.
Well,
Okay.
what you're doing is you're filming people leaving in their personal vehicles. Okay?
That's not exciting.
And that's a security threat.
No, how is that a security threat?
Their registration.
Do you,
That's
do
a presumption.
Do you not see what happens in the world?
That's a presumption.
You're not seeing what's happening in the world.
Okay, yeah, but that is a presumption, okay?
not a presumption.
And where you just said, okay, about to do with license plates, okay? License plates are in the public domain, okay? You guys have
But
access
you're-
to
what
that
you're doing is
information.
You're putting that on YouTube and you're specifically...
Who said that? Who
You're-
said that? Whoa.
You're
Hang on a minute.
filming it,
Whoa,
you're gonna
hang
put
on.
it in the public
Hang on.
domain.
No.
Listen to me, and you
You
could.
said that. I haven't
Listen
said
to
it.
me,
Ken.
I'm-
No, don't
listen.
shout at me.
Listen to me. I'm
Do
trying
not
to
shout
talk,
at me.
you're
No,
talking
no,
over
don't
me.
shout at me.
So let me have my piece.
Please do not shout
Let me
at
have
me.
my piece then.
Yeah, as long as
Let me
you
say
don't
my
shout at
piece.
me.
The two constables quickly fall back on the same excuse the inspector tried earlier, claiming Plod is a security threat. Their justification that he's filming staff registration plates, but Plod dismantles that instantly. Number plates aren't secret, they're a legal requirement to be displayed in public. Every single one is in the public domain, visible to anyone walking down the street. Calling that a threat is pure fantasy. What makes their claim even weaker is the fact that police themselves have full access to registration details through the DVLA and their own systems. If anyone has the ability to check plates, it's the officers, not the public. So trying to frame filming what's already visible as suspicious is absurd. It exposes the tactic for what it is, stretching security into a catch-all excuse whenever they don't like being recorded.
You are a public servant, okay? I am here as a member of the public to film public property, okay, and a public service that the public pay for, okay? I'm doing a completely lawful activity, okay? I'm breaking no law, I'm committing no crime, right? And I should carry on about my business, okay? If you decide that you want to harass me, then you carry on and do that, sir.
The issue you have...
Could you step back a
is
little
that
bit,
what
please?
you're doing is you're causing our colleagues harassment
Would you
and
mind
alarm and
stepping
distress.
back a little bit,
okay?
please?
You're causing our colleagues harassment
Would you
and alarm
mind
and
stepping
distress.
back a little bit, please?
Okay? Why don't you
Okay?
step back
Right.
further over there to
No,
the pavement
because
over
I
there?
moved to here and you came to me. Okay?
I've come
Just
to you
because you're...
because it's
I
strange,
moved
and
from
I'm
there
asking you
to
why
here,
you're filming.
and you
why you're
walked to
filming.
me.
I'm asking
okay?
you why you're
If
filming.
you don't want to be that close to someone,
I'm
then
asking you
don't
why
walk
you're
up to
filming.
them that way.
Listen
Yeah?
to me for a minute.
Okay? If you ask your colleague to step back, I will talk with you.
Perfectly he's standing,
No, he's
not
walked right the way up.
He's
Now,
not-
this is me
he's not in
feeling
your
alarm
personal
and
distance,
distress.
He's not in your personal
Okay?
space.
Yes, he is. Okay? He's well within an arm's reach.
Don't
okay?
touch me.
I didn't touch you.
This was the point where the officer completely gave up on professionalism. After being out-argued on every point of law, he stepped right into Plod's personal space, crowding him without cause. That isn't policing, it's intimidation. Officers are trained to de-escalate and maintain safe distance, not use their physical presence as a weapon when the law isn't on their side. While leaning into Plod, the officer warns him, "Don't touch me," even though Plod hadn't laid a hand on him. That's not a warning, that's bait. It's a preemptive excuse designed to flip the blame if things kick off. By engineering a scenario where any accidental contact could be twisted into assaulting police, the officer showed he wasn't interested in upholding the law, only entrapping Plod.
If you touch me and you get arrested
I
for
did
assault.
not touch you,
Understand
so
me?
let's get that right. I did not touch you.
Don't touch me. You
Okay?
touch me and you get
I
arrested
did
for
not
assault.
touch you, so
Okay?
you need to be quiet on that one. Okay? Don't tell me I touched you when I did not touch
Don't
you.
touch me,
I
or
did
you'll
not
be
touch
arrested
you.
for
It's all
assault.
on camera.
Do you understand
Okay?
me?
I did not touch you. Don't
Don't
tell me
reach
do I
forward.
understand.
Try and touch me.
Okay? Do not tell me, okay?
Okay,
Sir.
just look, sir,
Right?
just
He's got a real attitude
Sir,
problem.
listen.
Yes, he has.
Listen, you're not listening.
If
that's
you'd
the
like to
problem.
talk to me for a second, that'd
Yeah,
be
that's
great.
fine.
Okay. So I just wanted to clarify some things. You're right, this is a public area. You are entitled to film here. However, your behaviour is causing our staff harassment, alarm and distress.
Who's that then?
So we've had members of our staff complaining about you, filming them, leaving the premises, and that is causing them harassment, alarm and distress.
as
No,
a,
listen
as
to
a
me,
police
listen to me,
officer, as a
listen to
police
me.
officer or
No,
police
no,
officer,
no,
they
no.
cannot be the victim of being alarmed and
Yes,
distressed.
they- yes,
no, they
yes, they
cannot.
can.
You need
Yes,
to
they
actually
can.
look at that. It is case law and it is there.
Sir, listen to me. Yes,
Okay.
they can.
No, they
as-
cannot.
Yes, they can. So as such,
Okay.
under Section 50 of the Police Reform Act 2002, I'm going to ask you to provide me your details,
Okay,
your name
right.
and address.
Now, I will
Hang on.
actually state this, okay? Under Section 50,
Yep.
okay, the Police Reform Act,
Yep.
okay, there has to be a member of the public within 150 metres of me.
No, it
okay?
doesn't.
Yes, they
No,
do.
it doesn't,
okay?
'cause the
Right, you
legislation-
will not be
the-
getting
the-
my
the-
details.
So if you refuse to provide those
Okay.
details, you're liable to be arrested.
You will not get my details. I'll tell you that straight because
That's
I've
fine.
done nothing wrong.
That's fine. I'm going to ask you again. You have.
Okay.
You've caused our staff harassment, alarm, distress.
And I'm going to tell you no.
There is concern around your behaviour and how it's making our staff feel.
And I'm gonna
so
tell you
make
no.
that request from you to provide me with your name
And I'm going to
address.
tell you no because I've done nothing wrong.
You're under arrest.
Okay, right. Hang on. Just before you do, would you mind just reading my written plate?
The inspector coming back into the scene should have been an opportunity to restore order, but instead he parroted the same nonsense as his constables. But when the inspector reached for Section 50 of the Police Reform Act, that's when it got outrageous. Section 50 isn't a free pass to demand ID. It only applies when there are reasonable grounds to believe someone is committing antisocial behaviour towards the public. Plod was standing on public land, quietly filming a government building. No members of the public were even in sight, let alone affected. The inspector's denial of that requirement shows either complete ignorance of the law or a deliberate abuse of it. And when Plod refused to hand over his details, they arrested him. That's not policing, that's punishment for non-compliance. Now, Plod gives an update on his arrest.
As we know, I got one offer, okay, that got turned down,
Who's that
and
then?
we now have a court date for the end of February, so I will keep you updated on that, Pete. So, as you know, I gave you an update on Inspector Barton, and where it should have actually gone to court at the end of
Now, I
last
will actually
month,
state this, okay? Under
and
Section
basically
50, okay,
things
the
have
police
sort
reform
of
act,
been delayed,
okay, there has
so
to be a
I'm now
member of the
waiting
public
for
within
another
150
date
metres of me.
for
Okay,
that, and
yes,
as soon
they
as
do,
I have
okay?
that,
Right,
I
you
will let
not
you
get my
know.
details.
Plod's update flips this whole case on its head. After being unlawfully arrested under Section 50, he didn't just complain, he sued. The force offered him a settlement, but instead of taking the easy payout, he turned it down to drag the inspector into court. That decision is massive. Settlements allow forces to sweep misconduct under the rug, but a trial puts everything on record. If Plod wins, not only could the payout be far higher, £5,000 to £15,000 depending on damages and aggravating factors, but it would also leave the inspector's conduct publicly stamped as unlawful. For the force, that's reputation damage, wasted taxpayer money, and likely disciplinary consequences. From the very start, the inspector showed he didn't understand the basics of public filming law, trying to invent rules on the spot. For someone at that rank, it was embarrassing. He wasn't teaching his constables the law, he was teaching them how to bluff. Instead of de-escalating, he escalated. Instead of leading, he copied their mistakes. It exposed not just poor training, but a failure of leadership at the highest level. The arrest itself was the clearest proof of that. Section 50 was twisted into something it was never designed to be, a punishment for non-compliance rather than a safeguard against genuine antisocial behavior. Plod was right to point out that there were no members of the public affected, and the inspector was wrong to deny it. Even the behavior of the constables played into the bigger picture. From baiting Plod in his personal space to trying to pass off security threat and distressed staff as legal grounds, they showed what happens when frontline officers are emboldened by weak leadership. They weren't policing the law, they were policing their feelings, and when challenged, they hid behind their inspector. The bigger failure, though, is cultural. This wasn't about one inspector making a mistake. It was about a system where excuses come before accountability. The thin veneer of security and distress was used to mask ignorance, but Plod peeled it away with ease. By rejecting the settlement, he ensures those failures will be examined in the harsh light of court. That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps me continue with my independent coverage. Also, don't forget to check out Plod. His channel is linked in the description. Show him some love. Thanks for watching. This was Rate the Audit, and I'll see you in the next one.